We're talking with Jim Zecca, and Jim, we're going to play a little This Is Your Life.
Okay, Richard. Yeah.
Where were you born?
Where was I born? I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh,
Actually,
Brooklyn. I didn't know you were a
1955.
downstater.
Yeah.
Oh.
Originally in.
Well, we won't hold that against you.
No, you can't.
So, what was the progression from Brooklyn to Utica, New York?
Well, I was.
Where'd you go to school? Was it down in New York City?
Yes, it was actually a very tough school district. Learned a lot, hard knocks. It was John Jay High School, and some might know the John Jay High School from an old movie, The Blackboard Jungle.
Mm.
And that was a school that they portrayed the Blackboard Jungle in. Actually, Joe Pepitone was a Yankee that he went to school there quite a few years before I went to school there. But
in high school?
It was high school, yeah.
Oh, so high school, okay.
That was high school, yeah. So
and you went to what college?
I went to SUNY Cobleskill.
Now, how did you pick that from Brooklyn, New York?
Well, that's where I'm going to lead to. So in high school, I had a great ecology teacher and environmental science, Mr. Zayance, who actually lives in this area now, actually in Oneida. And I was very influenced by him in high school and wanted to pursue environmental studies, and I started looking at some of the colleges. There was some grant money available. You know, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. My mother was a single mom. My father had passed away when I was quite young in elementary school, and she did the best she could to raise the family.
Yeah, let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
That's what I should have asked. I should have asked, do you have any other siblings?
Yes, I do. I have a sister, and I had two brothers. Unfortunately, one of my brothers passed away during the COVID.
Oh dear, I did not know that.
And my brother, and actually
because of COVID?
Yes, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, early on in the whole COVID.
At its worst, yeah, when it was at its worst.
In April, and he was down in Florida. And actually, my brother Victor was the one who actually got me up here to begin with. That's part of the story.
Okay, so we're at SUNY Cobleskill.
Yeah.
And what are you majoring in?
I majored in a combination. It was fisheries and wildlife, and I took a lot of other environmental courses, wastewater treatment processes, and but my major was fisheries and wildlife technology. And it was a 2-year degree. Now they have a 4-year program there.
Right.
SUNY, it's SUNY College at Cobleskill.
Cobleskill, right?
Yeah. Agriculture and technical college. Yeah. So, and I did, after serving there, I did educating there. I did take additional courses here at Utica, now Utica University, but Utica College. So I furthered the study. I never did get my bachelor's degree, but worked towards it, and I took courses there. And I took
Why Utica?
What brought me to Utica, again, after Cobleskill, the job situation was not very good for conservation officers or environmental programs in the 70s. Finding a job was very difficult. So I started looking at other fields because I had a wide range of other courses that I took at Cobleskill, including wastewater treatment and solid waste management and recycling. We started the first recycling center on campus in SUNY Cobleskill, and I was very involved in all that. So I said I should start looking in those fields as well, maybe if I can't become a conservation officer or in fisheries or wildlife programs. So that's what I pursued, and then a couple of.
So we're getting to the part you need a job.
I need a job. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So my brother was already up here. He served in the Air Force, and he said his family settled up here after serving at the base and lived in Herkimer County. So he had asked to come up, and he said, maybe you could look around here and stay with us for a little bit. I stayed with him. I'm very independent and always have been independent. I stayed with him a very short period of time, and there was an opening at the Utica Zoo.
Oh, wow.
As a zookeeper. And they liked my background as fisheries and wildlife technology.
But by the way, ladies and gentlemen, his work at the zoo will serve him well in politics.
That's what everybody's always said. So, so I got a job at the Utica Zoo as a zookeeper. So that started my career, and I loved the job. I loved working with animals and education. And so it was both it was part of what I wanted to do, which was the environment, education, because the Utica Zoo obviously is not just a zoo or the view animals. There's an education aspect to it, so that was really important to me, and I just loved it. I still love working with animals.
Now somehow you make your way to Madison County.
Yes, yeah.
You keep going west.
Well, is in between.
Oh, okay.
So we worked at Utica Zoo for a little bit. It was very difficult. Utica Zoo was not, and still is, but now they're unionized, as you know now. But back then they were not unionized. Money was very difficult. There was no deal with Oneida County back then, and Ed Hanna was the mayor, and money was short. So the zoo, again, didn't have a lot of money. We were short. The benefits were not there. The pay was very low, so it was really difficult. And I had gotten married to my first wife, who was also a zoo.
Okay, we have to stop there. How'd you meet your wife?
At the zoo.
Oh, so she was working at the zoo
volunteered.
as well.
My first wife, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there had been other openings in other areas of the country to continue to do what we were doing as far as zookeepers.
Right.
And that was in New Hampshire.
Ah.
So that's where it all started. So when the opening came about in New Hampshire, we did move to New Hampshire for a couple of years and worked at the Benson Wild Animal Farm or Park. And some people might remember many years ago, while we were there, actually before we started there, they took they had the gorilla that was on display there. And they put him on the ballot to run for president of the United States.
Oh, geez.
It was a gimmick, obviously, to get attention to the park and everything, but they actually took him up in a cage to Concord and tried to register him on the ballot, but that didn't work. But that was the Benson Wild Animal Park. It's closed now and is a park now in New Hampshire. But we started there, so
we go to Madison County after New Hampshire? Or?
We go right after New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually,
well, how'd you find out about Madison County?
Well, I'll get to
Your
that.
brother again, or?
No, not my brother this time. So we went to New Hampshire. We stayed there for a couple of years. In the meantime, they were just starting to recycling was starting to come about way before New York State. New Hampshire was into recycling. It was all voluntary. And a bunch of communities started getting together and banding together, like we did here with the Solid Waste Authority, but they were well ahead of the time. And they were looking for people to volunteer and help with that get started. So I went to Wilton, New Hampshire, and Milford, New Hampshire, and started working with those folks on a voluntary basis. Then they asked me to work at the Wilton Recycling Center, which was the town of Wilton sponsored it, along with a bunch of other surrounding townships. So we started running that program, and then they hired me to work there as well. And then I got into, because I had the wastewater background, they were doing a composting, which was way ahead of its time, of biosolids, because they were incinerating the biosolids in the town of Merrimack. So I got working there. So I was actually basically working two jobs, helping that. We had left Benson, and I was getting into the field I really wanted to be in, and got a lot of experience on both, in wastewater treatment and solid waste management. At that time, my wife was homesick and wanted to come back to the Utica area, but I did get all that good experience, and I said, okay, let me start looking for positions back in our area. So I went to Hamilton. Hamilton needed somebody at their wastewater treatment facility to help manage the program there. They were upgrading their system, and we wound up...
Oh, Hamilton, New York,
Hamilton,
not
New
Hamilton
York.
College.
I'm
okay.
sorry, Hamilton, New York, yes.
Right.
So I got the position there. I was there for a number of years, but also helped with their voluntary recycling program in Hamilton at their old, right across from the firehouse. Got a bunch of experience there. And then Madison County wanted to upgrade their overall program from just a simple landfill to expand, because the state requirements were calling for recycling, mandatory recycling, and putting solid waste plans together long-term for the entire state. So I applied for that job with Madison County. At the time I was with Hamilton, and I was accepted. And then I had my 30-year career start.
30 years.
Yeah, with Madison County. But I had already started with Hamilton and helped them with their village recycling program. At the same time, we bought a house in Oriskany Falls, and that's where I got involved with the politics end of it.
Right.
At the time, the county legislator was Nick Oliver. Some people might remember him. They called him Dr. No.
Huh.
Nick Oliver. He always voted,
N.O.
N.O. He
Okay.
always voted no on budget increases in Oneida County, and he was very conservative. So he tried to convince me at that time to join the Republican Party, and I said, no, I'm an independent. I want to stay an independent. But he said, you need to run for mayor, and you need to run for the council or the village board first, which I did as an independent. Got elected and got involved with Oriskany Falls at the same time that I got hired by Madison County.
And a lot of environmental stuff you did there, but
Yes.
we'll move on to your Utica politics. What made you decide to get into Utica politics? Because at that time, I guess you were living in West Utica.
Yes, we finally eventually moved. I moved into West Utica
Mhm.
after going through, unfortunately, a divorce,
Right.
and that happens, you know. And met my current wife in West Utica, and again, all my experience, all the experience I had in Oriskany Falls, I did decide to run.
So you got the political bug then in Oriskany
Yeah,
Falls.
pretty much.
Okay.
And the environmental stuff, and I wanted to do more. We started the first mandatory recycling program in Oneida County.
Mhm.
This is before actually really getting involved in Madison County's program. We started the first mandatory recycling program in Oriskany Falls, and we built the last wastewater treatment facility, an alternative treatment facility on the Oriskany Creek. We were the last village to dump raw sewage into Oriskany Creek, so I was very, very proud of that program and getting that
But
done.
your first political venture in Utica was Common Council, right?
Common Council. I
Okay.
tried twice before I got elected, though.
Okay.
You realize I did run in the old district. In
What
West
party did
Utica.
you get elected on?
I actually ran as an independent first on the Independence Party. I was
Mhm.
with the Independence Party for a number of years.
Okay, not an independent, the Independence Party.
But before
Okay.
that, before the Independence Party was even in existence, I was an independent
Oh, okay.
for a long time. And then when they came into existence with Ross Perot, got me started with the Reform Party, and then in New York it was Tom Golisano that organized the Independence Party, and I joined forces, and I was the first, that's another thing, I was the first chairman of the Independence Party representing Oneida County, and got involved that way. So we had our own candidates running. Unfortunately, it was very difficult to try to get independents elected, and then we started.
So you
crossing
served the
that.
full term, though, as Common Council person, right?
Well, that's when I switched at that time to Democrat.
No, but I mean, once you got elected, you served the full term. Was it 8 years?
I served 3 terms, 6 years as councilman of West Utica. In my final term of office, I said, I really want to represent the entire
Oh, yeah, I
city.
forgot about
So I
that.
ran as a council at large.
And so you served 1 year, 1 term, is that?
3 terms as
3 terms as
West
councilman.
Utica and 1 term as a council at large, and then I was term limited out.
Okay, so you're sort of a fixture in Utica politics then.
Yeah, if you want to say that, yeah, and I've always been involved. Before that, we were involved with the Block Association, the West Utica Block Association, which is part of the overall Block Association system with the Home Ownership Center. You know, we have the East Utica meetings, the
Yes.
South Utica meetings. I was all very much involved in that.
So now you did run for a couple offices, you weren't successful, but then you turned your focus now to Oneida County Legislature. Why the change from Utica, although you're representing Uticans in the district,
Right.
why the focus to a new branch of government?
Well, again, I've had over 30 years of experience working for county government, which was Madison County. Many people, while I was at Madison County working, had said, why don't you run, instead of for council, why aren't you running for county legislator? You have the experience. I personally felt there were too many conflicts of interest, especially with the issues with the Oneida Indian Nation and the counties, that there was too much overlap with Madison County and Oneida County, and I just didn't want to do that. And I said, I think I could do a lot as a councilman, so I ran as a councilman. Now that I'm retired, which I retired in 2018, I felt now is the time that I could do some good on a county level, and I have the experience. No batteries needed.
Okay.
I
So
know
now,
county government.
looking to the future, whether you're successful or not here, would this be probably your last stop in politics, or do you have any future goals?
You never know. Things pop up, and I enjoy helping people and doing things, especially in the environment. You know that. We worked together on a lot of projects through the years, and if I could help and do things that, with my experience that I've had through the years, I'd like to use it. And even if I don't get elected, like this term limits issue, if I don't get elected, I'm not going away. I'm going to still push this term limit issue countywide. So that's going to happen no matter what.
Okay, so Jim, that's a good part. That's a good position to end our first part. Thank you very much for letting us in your life. And people, stay tuned. We're going to have a short Q&A with Mr. Zecca.
Right.